Okay, I think I finally made it. Was so sorry to be late today. Um, I have been having all kinds of technical difficulties, and it turns out, in case you didn't know, Windows computers really different from Macs. Um, so if you were here the last time that we did a stream from this Windows laptop, right? I'm not used to Windows. I haven't used it regularly in like a decade. And last time I had not thought ahead and hadn't realized that I couldn't use the mouse and keyboard that I normally use with my Mac laptop. I couldn't use them with this brand new Windows laptop I just got. So this time I got a very cute little keyboard and mouse, pink, that I can use with my Windows computer. And I didn't know how to hook up a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to a Windows computer, so that was an adventure. But I got it. I got it figured out. Here we are, and the mouse and keyboard work. And you will notice that the time zone on my computer is crazy. It says it's 4:26 a.m. It is not 4:26 a.m. It is actually 1:13 p.m. Here in Los Angeles, California, USA. Um, so just ignore that, I guess. It does, and it has the wrong date. All right, it thinks it's tomorrow. I don't even know what time zone that is. I think it's like Australia or something. Uh, so it's way off, way off. It's not even just like UTC. Um, all right, so here we are. Welcome to the live stream. So first, well, I guess the first thing I already did, apologize for being late today. I just was scrambling to try to get this mouse and keyboard working and figure out how to use a Windows computer for the first time in a long time. The second thing I have to apologize for is this stream, of course, was supposed to have happened 2 weeks ago, and I had to cancel it at kind of the last minute. I think it was just a couple hours ahead of time because they were putting a new roof on my building, and it was not very feasible to think that I was going to be able to have a live stream with people, just a few feet above my head, hammering and nailing things and running all kinds of machinery and making all kinds of rackets. So I apologize. I hadn't realized ahead of time that that was going to be happening that day. And I don't think that LinkedIn actually did a very good job of sharing my cancellation message. So if you were counting on coming to that one and suddenly it just disappeared on you, I apologize. But here we are today. And again, sorry for being late. All right, so I'm sharing my screen here and I have a Firefox window open. And I've got a couple of websites that we can use for testing today. One is our own website, our Aardvark website. Um, and we're going to try that out and see how it works with a screen reader. And I'm sure we will find some issues that we need to fix. Because, of course, no website is ever 100% accessible. There's always going to be something that you could do to make a website, to remove barriers from a website and make it more usable for more people. All right, so what we are going to be doing today is we're going to be the whole reason that I have my Windows computer out is we're going to be trying the NVDA screen reader, um, which is available only on Windows, not on Mac. If you're on a Mac device, the only screen reader available to you is VoiceOver. If you're on a Windows computer, you have some other options, the most popular ones being JAWS and NVDA. And as we've talked about before, each screen reader has its favorite browser that it does best when it's paired with. And for NVDA, that is Firefox. For VoiceOver, it is Safari, which is perhaps not a surprise to anyone. And for JAWS, it's Edge, which has what has replaced Internet Explorer. So I will be using Firefox today and NVDA. And we are going to just figure out together how to use a screen reader, how to use this screen reader. Screen readers can be a little bit confusing if you aren't accustomed to using them, just because they don't tend to have like a visual UI or much of a visual UI. um, because they are, of course, meant to be like auxiliary software, right? Like you don't want it taking over your whole experience and controlling everything that you see on a screen. And I think it might also be helpful if we talk for just a second before we dive in and get started about some common misconceptions that people might have about screen readers. The first of which I think is that only people who are blind or blind people use screen readers, which is not true at all. You might be surprised to learn. There are actually lots of different people who like screen readers and use them for a variety of different reasons. So it could be somebody who has a vision disability of another type, someone who is low vision or has some other kind of vision issue that they are dealing with, where they might find a screen reader to be more helpful. So, not necessarily blindness, but possibly other conditions. You may also be somebody who has some kind of a learning disability or a reading disability or some other kind of cognitive disability where, for whatever reason, hearing things read out might be easier for you than trying to read text on a screen, or being able to hear something read out at the same time that you're reading it can be helpful to kind of help to focus and to help concentrate and get that information into your brain. Personally, I think that's helpful, even for me. And I wouldn't say that I have any kind of cognitive disability. And I find that very helpful sometimes when I'm studying or learning something new. I do find it very helpful to be able to read text and then hear it read at the same time, right? So I'm kind of taking it in with my eyes and my ears at the same time. I can find that really helpful sometimes. So there's a variety of different situations where somebody might be using a screen reader, and it's not always because they are blind. All right, so I'm going to be working today off of I know my camera is really small, but I have my DeQ cheat sheet. So I highly recommend these. I find them very, very helpful. DeQ has published these kind of one-page PDFs that you can print out. Now, the text is very, very small. But they are also available electronically on their website. So if you need to have it read out to you with a screen reader or some other kind of assistive technology, then maybe not printing out the PDF would be a better way to go. But all of that information is available in other ways besides just the PDF. Um, and they basically take all of your most common keyboard shortcuts and things that you would want to do with NVDA and put it all together in one place so that it makes it easier to learn how to use the software. And we will talk about, we have a couple of different modes. So NVDA has a browse mode, which is used when we're just reading documents or reading web pages. It also has a focus mode, which is used when you enter a form or anything that requires input. And NVDA will automatically switch between browser and focus modes. But if you feel a need to, for whatever reason, toggle between those, you can by pressing insert and spacebar together on your keyboard. I actually don't know where the insert key is on my little keyboard. I see it on the laptop itself. So I might have to use the laptop if I want to show that one. Oh, I see it. I see it on this little tiny pink keyboard. I see it. All right. Um, we also have an optional, so if you remember from the voiceover stream, VoiceOver by default has a little bit of a UI to it where it does open a little window where it'll show you what it is reading out. And NVDA does have an option to turn that on. It is off by default. Um, and that is an option that you can turn on in the NVDA menu under tools. All right. So to get NVDA, it is a free screen reader. You can just do a web search for it, find it, and download it and install it on your computer. You can optionally make a donation if you want to support the further development of the software, but it is free if you just need to use it for some testing and things like that. All right. So first up, um, the first thing I think that you always need to learn when you are going to work with a screen reader is how to make it stop talking, because sometimes it is just talking and you do not want it to be talking. And so to know how to make it stop talking is the most important thing. And with NVDA, how we make it stop talking is we just tap the control key on the keyboard, which is usually going to be your bottom leftmost key, but of course it might depend on which kind of keyboard that you're using. But just to keep that in mind, if it's just rambling on and you don't want that right now, just tap the control key on the keyboard. And as you move the mouse around, it might start talking again. You can just keep hitting control to keep cutting it off and make it stop. Um, to turn it back off, it is Insert plus Q on your keyboard. And to turn it on, it is Control Alt N. So I think I've already got it on here. Let me just, this mouse is an adventure. Let's see. There we go. Okay, let me adjust the volume to make sure that you can hear that. Oh, it's very quiet. Hmm. Okay. I hope that's coming through in the live stream. That is bizarre to me that that's the loudest that the volume goes, because that is not very loud at all. I don't have an external microphone handy. Um, that might be annoying. Let's see. Let me see. Can I share? Yes, yes. Okay, I don't see it. Oh, wait, maybe it's in my present menu. Edit name. No. Um, yeah, I don't remember it being this quiet last time. I'm confused, and I'm not even sure where the speaker on this laptop is to know where I could move the microphone to make it come out a little bit louder. Ugh, more technical difficulties. All right. More technical difficulties. I don't see anything that looks like a speaker where I could put the microphone right next to it. That is bizarre. Wonder what would be making it so quiet. Um, oops. This has got to get louder than that. Okay, I cannot tell where I should be putting the microphone to try to pick that up because I don't see anything that looks anything like a speaker on here, which might be why it's so quiet. Um, hmm. Let's see. What can I do? Do I have a speaker somewhere handy? Of course, trying to connect to a Bluetooth speaker, that's going to be a whole other adventure. But I think I got it now. I think I know how to make Windows connect to a Bluetooth. Um, Jacob. Oh, maybe it's in the NVDA. So maybe, let's see. Maybe it is in the NVDA. So let's try it. I I haven't used my plan. See here. Oh my gosh. General. I don't see volume in here. Setting the speech. Let's try speech. Oh, the volume is, it says it's all the way up. Hmm. I don't remember this being a problem last time, and I haven't. Okay. I haven't touched this laptop since I used it last time, and I feel like it worked fine last time. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So the volume in NVDA settings is all the way up, and the volume for the system is all the way up, but it is still just extremely quiet. Like I'm sitting right here, right next to this laptop, and it is whisper quiet. Like, I don't know why it is so, why the volume is so low. And I don't think I have a Bluetooth speaker handy anywhere that I could connect to and use that to modify or to amplify the volume rather. Also, I cannot tell where the sound is coming out of this laptop, which is also problematic. Hmm. Well, this is not going to work if you guys cannot hear what the screen reader is doing. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I may have to find an external Bluetooth speaker and come back again and try this out again. I'm not 100% sure. I've got one handy, but I feel like I should have one somewhere in my house. So let me go see if I can find that. I'll disappear for just a second. If you can bear with me, and we'll see if we can at least retrieve part of this stream for today and get at least some helpful information for you. So forgive me, please. Sorry for just a minute. And I will be right back and see what I can find for a speaker.
Accessing cam. Cam.
Okay.
New notification from Acer Purified Voice Cons. Open the club. You open the app to which screen your clickable picture in picture layout.
Okay. I think I am back now. Yes. And hopefully you can hear me. I found a Bluetooth speaker, went through the adventure of getting it connected, and it is louder. Uh, so I checked the NVDA settings. There wasn't any hints in there about like it was the volume was all the way up. There wasn't there didn't seem to be anything obvious in there that would explain why it was so quiet. And it is not quiet connected to my my little Bluetooth speaker here. So let me whoops. Let me try this and see if everybody can hear it.
NVDA are the fastest way to perform professional accessibility audits.
Okay, is that better? Are you able to hear the screen reader? Did I lose everybody?
EA Art Park, the fastest way to perform and replace spreadsheets for good.
Okay. Well, I think maybe I lost everybody and nobody has stuck with me. That's okay. It has been a lot, and we are 43 minutes into a 1 hour stream before we finally have it all working. Okay. Okay. Yes, it is working. Was it sounding it much louder? Okay. I can actually turn it up even a little bit more, I think. And the microphone is right next to the Bluetooth speaker, so hopefully it should be picking it up. Okay, well, we'll spend at least a few minutes exploring NVDA here. I'm so sorry for all of this adventure today. Did not anticipate this going so wonky and sideways. All right. You'd think it was my first stream, but no, the first stream went off without a hitch. Was no problem. It's, the 10th one that somehow decides to be a problem. So I don't know. I don't know why. All right, so we have NVDA on. We know hitting the control key will stop it when it is speaking, and we don't want to hear it any longer. So let's go ahead and explore some of the quick shortcuts. Um, all right, so insert down arrow or plus on the number pad. My little keyboard doesn't have a number pad, but that's okay. Is what we'll start reading continuously from wherever we happen to be onward. Um, thank you for sticking with me for 45 minutes of nothing helpful. I'm so sorry. Okay. Um, next time, so I guess we will do NVDA again next time, and I'll have it all figured out. I'll have this Bluetooth speaker already here. I'll figure out what is going on with this laptop and why the volume on it is suddenly so low, even when says it is turned all the way up. That seems very weird. Um, all right, so say we are
Fastest way.
here. Thank you, NVDA. All right, and we want to just start continuously reading. So we can do that. Maybe. Is anyone surprised that that didn't work? Okay, let's try it again here.
Same page link skip to
There we go.
contact support. Same page link skip to content. Visited same page link graphic A art part logo. Menu navigation landmark list clickable with 6 items collapsed visited sub-menu link features.
Okay, I don't think we need to listen to the entire page from the very top.
Solutions
So
collapsed sub-menu same page.
let's go
Explore
ahead.
VDA art skip to content same page link. Main landmark heading level 1. The fastest way to perform professional accessibility audits.
All right.
Heading level 1. The fastest way to perform professional accessibility audits. and replace spreadsheets for good. Manage more accessibility projects with ease using our all-in-one testing, monitoring, issue management, and reporting platform. Link try a Aardvark for free.
Of course, it does not know how to pronounce aardvark, the name of our company, but that's okay. A aardvark is also kind of cute. so, so I could have let it go, and it would just, it would read all the way to the very bottom of the page, would just keep going, reading all along, and letting us know every little bit of content that it came across. And that can be helpful sometimes. We're just making sure, like, is it able to like access everything and have something readable and helpful to say about each element that happens to be on the screen. And of course, just hitting the control key will stop it from doing that once you don't want it to keep reading any longer. All right, if we want to just skip to the next item, it's just the down arrow on the keyboard. So I'll press that now.
Court issues in seconds with WCAG auto suggestions.
Okay, so it skipped right down to here.
Report issues in seconds with double.
Thank you. And when you move your mouse over there, it does it again.
Manage manual audits and automated scans for web accessibility. Pinpoint accessibility issues with a visual interface.
All right. So we're able to kind of just move through one element at a time by just hitting the down arrow on the number keypad. Um, Now, one thing that you might notice if you are a regular screen reader user, my screen reader sounds very slow. It is the default speed of the speech in the NVDA settings. Um, I can do it. I could do it faster than that. That is very slow. It is much slower, I think, than the default speed of VoiceOver. I could definitely do it faster than that, but I cannot do it as fast as most everyday screen reader users who have their the speed turned up so fast that it just sounds like a blah 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 blah. But you can get used to it, right? You can get used to it a little bit at a time if you just turn up the speed a little more, a little more, a little more. You can get used to it and be able to make sense of it when it's going very quickly. Obviously, at the speed it's reading right now, if I were to have it read out, an entire blog post or like an entire long page of content to me, it would take quite some time to get through that. But the speed at which the voice reads is configurable in the settings. So is the particular voice you're using. So if you don't happen to like this particular voice, and I can't remember off the top of my head if this is the default voice or if I changed it, but it comes with a few different voices, and you can choose which one is your favorite, and you can configure the speed, and you can configure a lot of other things about the screen reader to make it work for you. A lot of times when we're just doing accessibility testing, we don't do a lot of extensive configuration of the screen reader. All right, so our next thing is, of course, we can still use our tab key to jump to the next focusable item on the page, which is mainly going to be buttons and links. It can also be form fields of different types. So, text input or a select drop down, checkboxes, radio buttons, etc. We can move to those, which I don't think there's any of those on this particular page, if I remember correctly. Um, but we can skip just between the focusable elements on the page. So let me just hit tab a couple of times so we can get a sense for how that works.
Try a Aardvark for free link. Learn about visual mode link. Learn about the audit management link. Learn about the remediation management visited link.
I'm not sure why we have the in there. That seems a little bit weird. So I'll just make a note that maybe that's something we should look at. The first one didn't have the. Um, I don't know about the remediation management. That seems a little bit awkwardly worded. So I think I'll make a note to get that addressed.
Learn about the scanning and monitoring. Try a Aardvark for free link.
We're going to hear try AA artwork quite a bit on this page. It's not going to be terribly exciting. All right, so that's how we can move. Obviously, you can hit Shift Tab to go back up the page, right, and move just between the focusable elements. If you want to just move between any type of element, you would use the arrow key. All right, if we want to activate a link, I don't want to activate this. Try artwork one. Let me go.
Learn about the remediation management.
Let's try this one. It's just the same as if you're just using a keyboard. You would just hit the Enter key.
Accessibility remediation management with the AR part busy. Same page link skip to.
Okay, I'll cut it off there. So you can see that what happens when you navigate to a new page, the first thing that it does is announce the new page that it's on. It announces the page title for that page so that we know where we just landed. We know that we just got to a new page and we know what this page is all about. Hopefully, because hopefully that page has a descriptive title that tells us what the page is all about and it hasn't been left blank or it hasn't been preemptively taken over by SEO experts who made it say something that a search engine crawler might like that's not particularly helpful to people. So that is something that can sometimes happen. So that is why we want to make sure that our pages always have descriptive titles that explain what the page is about so that when we land there, the screen reader is able to announce that to us and we understand where we are and what we're doing. All right, so another way that we can navigate through a page and a nice way to make sure that our heading structure is actually correct is we can just use the H key on the keyboard to jump just between headings. So let's go ahead and try it on this page. I'm just going to hit H on the keyboard.
Main landmark simplify accessibility remediation with the AR part heading level 1.
Yeah, so we heard it announce that first heading, but we also heard it announce main landmark. So that's another nice thing that we have happening on this page is that we actually have a landmark called out that here is the main content of the page. And that is most likely a main element that is wrapped around the main content of the page so that we are able to tell programmatically that that is the main content of the page. Okay, let me go ahead and hit H key again and let's see where we jump to.
All-in-one tools to manage, resolve, and verify accessibility issues efficiently. Heading level 2.
All right, heading level 2 is that next little heading that's right under the first one. So I'm going to predict that when I hit it again, I'm going to jump down to where we see it say save time and simplify accessibility. That's kind of going off the bottom of the screen. So let's make sure that that's where we go.
Media player heading level 1.
No, we hit the media player. All right. So that is not just a screenshot, apparently. That is a media player of some kind. So let me try hitting H1 or the H key again, rather, and see where we land.
Save time and simplify accessibility remediation heading level 2.
All right. So, curious thing about our media player here, which is the Able player. It's an open source media player that is available for anybody to use on their website. I did, however, use an H1 that just said media player, which I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of, but it does announce that there is a media player there. And it does let us know that there is something there that we could interact with. So hitting H again did take me to that heading that I predicted would be next, and it was an H2, which is what I would expect. So let me hit H key again and see where we land.
A simplified WCAG remediation process heading level 2.
Okay, so we've got a new section of the page, and we hit an H2 there, heading up that section, so that looks correct. I'm going to hit it one more time here. I know we want to move on to doing something else, but I'm curious about that text there that says provide clear actionable remediation steps. I'm curious to know if that is marked up as a heading because it shouldn't be, but I'm nervous that it is. So let's try it.
Provide clear, actionable remediation steps to your team heading level 3.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so that's something I need to make a note of for us to get fixed on our website. Um, it's not an egregious error that that's marked up as a heading, but I do like to reserve headings just for being used for, a little bit of text that is heading up some content that follows it, a section or a subsection or a sub-subsection of content. And because this is more of um, like we have these three things here that are saying, this is our simplified remediation process. It's more like just a list of three things and not three headings. There's not additional content here that would be under each of those headings. So I don't like it. I'm not a fan of that pattern. So we'll get that addressed and make sure that those aren't headings any longer. All right. Okay, so say we wanted to skip around the page by the heading level. So if our page is all marked up correctly, and we already know it's not because that media player putting an H1 kind of in the middle of the page. And I'll have to look and see if that's configurable or if there's a way to adjust that with Able Player. But um, ideally, on each page, there would be one H1, which would be at or near the top of the page. It doesn't necessarily have to be the very first heading. An H1 near the beginning of the page that's going to tell us what the page is about, right? Like the main heading of the page. And then sections of the page should be headed up by H2. So if I wanted to just navigate between sections of the page and kind of get a quick feel for what is all of the different sections of content here, I should be able to do that by just navigating through all of the H2s. If I get super interested in one of the H2s and I'm wondering what subsections might be under that, hopefully those would all be headed up by H3s and so on. So a nice way to kind of just scan down through a page, see what are all the sections of content here, should be by navigating through just the H2s, which we can do by just using the 2 key on the keyboard. So you can do headings levels 1 through 6 by just using 1 through 6 number keypads. So I'm going to hit the number 2 and let's see where we end up.
Key remediation features heading level 2.
Okay, so that is the next section on the page. I'll try it one more time.
Visual mode for easy verification heading level 2.
Okay, so obviously we didn't test the entire page here, but at least for these couple of sections, our heading structure looks like it's doing okay, at least for the sections. Now in the subsections, because I have a feeling again that those are H3s nested under there instead of like a list of 3 items or a group of 3 items, which I think would be a more correct way to mark up those 3 things that are in that section. All right. We can also list all of the headings by hitting Insert F7. So I have to figure out how to make the function keys work on my keyboards. Let's try it. Insert F7. No.
Search. Microsoft.
I
File
think.
submenu Alt plus.
Okay.
F.
Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, give me 1 second here. I did not want to open. Where is my mouse?
Circle. Close. Search. Closed. Discover Venus 8. Open
Oh,
a new tab.
I
New
just
tab.
completely navigated away
A
from it.
art list. A art.
All right. We'll just go back to the home page for now. All right, let me try that again. I might have to just use the keyboard that's on my um
Elements list dialog.
okay. Yeah, we got it
Preview.
here, but it
Level
opened on the
0
wrong
skip 1
window.
piece elements list. Elements list.
Okay, so this looks similar to the rotor that we have in VoiceOver. And this is going to give us a way to navigate or to just access a list of all of the links, all of the headings, all of the form fields, all of the buttons, and or all of the landmarks that are on the page. And this is, I think, the little bit of UI that's available with NVDA. This is about all we get, but of course you can navigate this without being able to see it as well. Yes, the function key requirements on laptops are a little bit unusual. And then I don't think I made the best choice of a external Bluetooth keyboard because it's so, it's just this big. It's so compact that I think it's literally smaller than the one that's on the laptop anyway. So it has a similar issue. And I think the issue is even worse because the insert key is actually a function key. And so I don't think it's actually possible to hit function F7 on this external keyboard because it's going to trigger something else entirely, which we just saw. All right, so if we wanted to just get the list of headings.
Type. Grouping. Elements list.
All right, so here is our list of headings, and you can see that this is visually, if you are able to see the UI that is available there, it is quite different from what VoiceOver shows. Um, and one nice thing about the NVDA over VoiceOver is VoiceOver just shows them as a flat list, and it doesn't make it super easy to tell um, what the different levels are. What I like about the NVDA UI is that it actually shows them nested and kind of tucked in under one another, and you can actually expand and collapse different sections to kind of navigate through the page. So I do like that better with NVDA over VoiceOver. But this is a very nice way, like just looking at this list that it's made available here for us.
Communication management.
I'll just turn off NVDA from speaking to me for a second. Um, is we can get basically an outline of our document right here in front of us. So it's a really easy way to just do a very quick check and see, does it all make sense? Are all of the heading levels correct? Are they all nested correctly? Am I using all the correct heading levels, etc.? And it's a
Remediation.
it's an easy way to just very quickly do a check to make sure that the overall heading structure of the document is correct and to identify something. So I'm going to go back over to that remediation page just for a second so we can see what that looks like.
Elements. Links. Aside, learn the art part, the fastest way to visual mode for easy verification. Quick settings grouping. Project accessibility remediation management with the art part Mozilla File.
Nope. All right. I got to hit all these keys in the right order to get that menu back. Okay. It's like doing finger yoga. No, that's not what I want. Okay, hold on.
No.
So I have to hit insert first.
Dialogue.
No, oh my gosh, what do we want here?
Browsing. No. Accessibility remediation management with the art part Mozilla Firefox.
Okay, I did it once and it worked. I can't get it back. All right, let's try it one more time.
Quick settings grouping. Project grouping. Accessibility remediation management.
Okay, insert.
Elements list dialog. Elements list.
All right.
Contact us. Elements skip to
I've got to hit those keys in exactly the right order. So note to self, I have to insert, then the function, just the FN key, and then the F7 key. If I do them in any other order,
features,
it doesn't like it. All right.
Type, keep a simple.
So here's where we can see what problem that media player is causing, because we have the H1 at the top of the page talking about remediation, and we have our H2 subheader under it, and then immediately we have another H1 that's announcing media player. So I do need to look at that. I'd like to make it an H2, and I would also like to change its name to, the name of the video or something. I think would be a little bit more helpful. But anyway, so this is how we can see, this is an example of the heading structure being not ideal, not exactly what we expected. Okay, I think that we have gone just a little bit past 2 o'clock. I am so sorry for all of the technical difficulties today that took away most of our time together. Next time we will do NVDA again. And I will have the Bluetooth speaker ready to go. I will have the mouse and keyboard already know how to connect those with Bluetooth. And I think and I will also explore what's going on with the volume on this laptop, because that's also a little bit suspicious, because I did not have that problem last time. So I feel like there's some weird setting or something on that laptop that's happening. And it doesn't seem to be specific to NVDA. It's just any sound from the laptop is super quiet. So I need to figure out what that is. All right, so next time we'll try this again. So sorry for how things kind of just went off the rails today. And hopefully you will join me again. And Thank you so much for all of your time and patience. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Thank you.
Save time and simplify access some and screen and